Farmers today are facing rising costs, volatile markets, and extreme weather. The A Better Way to Farm podcast digs into strategies to help you take control of farm inputs and maximize profit so your farm can thrive for generations. Remember to take advantage of our free resources at abetterwaytofarm.com. Now, from America's Heartland, here's your host.
Are you being bombarded by this amino acid, by these enzymes? Add these enzymes, this amino acid, this is what you need. Use these enzymes, use these amino acids, and you won't have to use any fertilizer at all. Are you hearing these kinds of things? Hey, Rod here at A Better Way to Farm, where we increase yields and improve profits. And today we're also going to say maybe we need to apply the brakes just a little bit. Before we launch off into buying amino acids and buying enzymes, maybe we ought to do a little research and a little looking. And guys, I believe that in the future, we're going to see things happen in this realm. I believe there are going to be enzymes that come out that are usable and profitable. I believe there are going to be amino acids that are important and can make a difference. But before we launch into that, what I want to do is get some background on it, because I always think before we start down a path, we need to look at the roadmap and say, where does this path go? And furthermore, I'd like to know how we even got here. How did we arrive at the place that we are on the path already? Specifically, I want to start with amino acids. And the reason I want to start here is because I keep seeing things in print. I keep hearing people talk. If you'll use these amino acids, you don't need to apply any fertilizer. You don't need to apply any macros. You don't want to apply any secondaries. They'll take care of all of your micronutrients. Let's do a review here from some textbooks and from some places. I've sourced some things like Bayer Crop Science. I have sourced some things like a Farmers Cooperative Society study. I have sourced some things like the National Institutes of Health. And so a lot of different places here. And I'm just going to share with you to say that corn plants synthesize amino acids using essential elements from the soil, the air, and the water. Several key macro and several key micronutrients directly drive or enhance this production because they are crucial for nitrogen assimilation, for enzyme function, and protein building. Let's review what some of these do. Here's a list of your primary nutrients that help with amino acid production, in this particular case, specifically in corn. We'll start with the big one, nitrogen. And you guys know that we are fundamentally opposed to the overuse of nitrogen. We believe that the overuse of nitrogen costs the American farmer a lot of yield. But I also know being short in it will likewise cost a lot of yield. But in regards to amino acids, this is the fundamental building block of amino acids. Corn plants require a steady and a balanced supply of nitrogen to form the amino acid group NH2, which is needed to construct your amino acids. Sulfur. I saw a deal the other day, someone was saying, don't worry about sulfur. Guys, I want to worry about everything. We want to take care of it. Sulfur is essential for converting nitrogen into proteins. It is a critical component of a specific essential amino acid such as methionine and cysteine, and it helps the plant utilize nitrogen more efficiently. When we don't have enough sulfur, the nitrogen doesn't work right. We also don't convert that nitrogen to protein like we're supposed to, and we can't create these two essential amino acids that we need. Potassium. This enhances the plant's ability to produce proteinogenic amino acids and improve the movement of peptides within the plant. I'm also seeing people talking about that they've discovered a peptide, that you buy this peptide and all will be great with the world. Peptides are important. But guys, the fact of the matter is, if we're using peptides to mask a potassium deficiency, are we really gaining anything? Let's do the fundamentals first, okay? Fundamentals say NPK, calcium, mag, and sulfur, and then your micros. Those are the fundamentals. So how about calcium and magnesium while we're on that subject? These elements are vital for regulating the metabolic pathways and the enzyme activities required for amino acid synthesis. This directly impacts the amino acid content in the kernels of your corn. I remember early on, my mentor told me that magnesium was a lot like a whole series of light switches. And if you had adequate magnesium, it just went in and just started flipping on the switches. Boom, 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 turning them on. And having that adequate magnesium and calcium in there activates those enzymes so that they can make the amino acids that you need. And that's going to directly impact your amino acid content in your corn. Zinc. It plays an important role in nitrogen metabolism and is a necessary cofactor for over 300 enzymes. In other words, if I'm buying enzymes and I don't have adequate zinc, I need that cofactor to make them work. Putting the enzymes in isn't necessarily going to get me near what it should. So we need to address that. Iron and manganese. These assist, both of them, in nitrate reduction and nitrogen assimilation, providing the necessary precursor steps for amino acid production. In other words, if we don't have enough iron and or we don't have enough manganese, all of a sudden we can't reduce the nitrate in there. We cannot assimilate the nitrogen that we have, and therefore we inhibit the production of amino acids. Guys, just buying amino acids without having these other things correct, in my humble opinion, is not the right move. I just want to encourage you guys, do some studying on this. Get on the internet, grab some textbooks and see what you can learn. Now I want to switch over, and the first question that I wanted to get answered, I wanted to know how many enzymes are in a cell, because I get these guys selling me enzymes and I'm going to put on an ounce per acre or a half ounce per acre. And I know they're small and I know that's a lot. However, in a single cell, in one single cell of a corn plant, the exact number of enzyme molecules is in the millions. Millions in a cell. Think about how many are in the whole plant. They comprise thousands of distinct types, and these guys serve as the blueprint for the cell's diverse enzyme repertoire. Scientific estimates for the number of distinct enzymes in a typical plant are generally similar across all species. This breakdown will help provide a clear picture of what is happening at the microscopic level. So let's talk about some of these distinct types. A corn cell actively produces and utilizes thousands of different enzymes. They fall into 6 primary functional categories, and they do different things. In regards to the total enzyme molecules, while there are thousands of different enzymes, the total count of individual enzyme molecules in a single cell reaches into the millions and quite possibly the tens of millions. That's the number of enzyme molecules inside a single cell of a corn plant. And the fact is, some are abundant and some are rare. Certain enzymes are central to survival, such as ribisco, and this is the primary enzyme for photosynthesis, or enzymes that are involved in respiration or glycolysis. These are present in hundreds of thousands or even millions of copies per cell. Others, which are only triggered during specific developmental stages or during stress responses, may only exist in dozens or maybe hundreds of copies. There are certain enzymes that need to be present in huge numbers, and there are certain enzymes that only need to be present in much smaller numbers. And the fact of the matter is, we need to have those, but I say all of that because the fact of the matter is, guys, these amino acids are very, very important. And when we start looking at how important they are, and they become important for your enzymes. Again, I think people are working on this, but I just want everyone to have their eyes wide open. And what I'm inviting you to do, what I'm asking you to do, is do some research and find out, because sometimes we have studied stuff ourselves. We've come out with products, we've went out and used them in one place, man, they work great. They come across, they show tremendous response, and we're all excited about it. But we don't know why it worked. And then what we don't know is why we take it somewhere else and it doesn't work over there. And until we can figure that out, we don't come to market with it. The fact that it worked really good in one place one time, or it worked really good in 5 places 5 times, doesn't mean that it's going to be very consistent. And consistency is the key. Guys, I appreciate you tuning in. I'm not here today to say buy enzymes, buy amino acids. I'm not here to say don't buy them. I just want you to do some research. And before you start buying a bunch of stuff, try to understand how it works and why it works. And also understand where it won't work and why it won't work. Because we do not want to get in the habit of putting something on that we don't need or something that is not going to get us a response. We've been working on a new product here for a couple of years, and I'm not sure we're going to get to come to market with it because in my opinion, we haven't got where we want to get with it. And so it's probably going to end up going back on the shelf for some period of time until we can figure some new things out. And I believe that in the marketplace, we all owe that to you, the consumer, to make sure what we're doing is very consistent. Guys, do your research. Get on the internet, buy some books, do some reading, and say, hey, this is what I want to do because I know it's going to do this, and figure that out. We're going to go into some fundamentals here in the very near future. We're going to be talking about some of these kinds of concepts that are fundamentals of agronomy that's coming up. And if you'd like to attend that program, reach out to us. Just text Karen, FOA, Fundamentals of Agronomy, and we'll get you in there. We appreciate you taking the time to listen. Guys, thank you for your time. We look forward to talking to you soon. And as always, we hope you're having a better day.